every society is hierarchical. I'm not arguing against that. People are innately hierarchical. So are dogs. It's a mammal thing. Okay. So you're not going to change that. There will always be people who are making more decisions than other people, who are making more money than other people. They are the people at the top of your society. What has changed from previous generations is not simply the magnitude of the concentration of wealth and power, though I do think as measurably that is more disproportionate than ever. But that's not really what's changed. What's actually changed is the mindset of the people in charge. They no longer acknowledge they're in charge, and they no longer acknowledge that they have a responsibility to the people whose lives they influence. So the robber barons who we learn, Carnegie and Rockefeller and Phipps and all the people that we learned to hate in ninth grade, those people, had a lot of flaws. And I do think the concentration of their wealth was a threat that did justify what Teddy Roosevelt did. Breaking up the trust was really important to allow capitalism to continue. But one thing I would say in their defense is they knew they were in charge. They admitted it, and they understood that it came with obligations, because it always does. If you're a parent, you're in complete charge of your children. You can do whatever you want to them. You can make them wear funny hats, dance on one foot. You can make them speak a different language. You can do whatever you want. They're your kids. You're God. But with those rights, your rights as a parent, come obligations to take care of the people over whom you have control. And that is what has been lost. And so Travis, the teenage billionaire who ran Uber, founded it, oversaw the second biggest employee workforce in the world, and yet he didn't claim them as employees. He didn't pay their health insurance. 1/3 of them lost money working for him. Now, you could say, well, it's the free market. Okay, fine. But it doesn't absolve him of his core responsibility. If you're creating a hierarchy of responsibilities, first is to the people closest to you, and that would include your children, your spouse, your employees, and then to the world. They've inverted that. So Travis was always lecturing the rest of us about police brutality or Black Lives Matter or global warming or whatever. What he was doing was displacing his responsibility from the real and the tangible to the theoretical and cost-free. So I would get these notices on my Uber app being like, let's pause for a moment to remember the victims of police violence, which, that's fine. But before you start lecturing me about my moral inadequacies and about how you care more than I do, maybe you could pay for the health insurance of your freaking employees, pal, Mr. Teenage Billionaire Guy. So this is actually part of a much larger syndrome that grows out of the meritocracy the SAT created 60 years ago, that has convinced the people in charge that everything trust me, this is the world I'm from, that's convinced them that, of course, they're richer and better educated and, by the way, more attractive than the people in the great middle of the country, in the medieval parts of the country. Okay, that's all true. But they're convinced that they're succeeding because they're better. They are better. I'm just a better person. I made better choices than you.